here today making an apple scented soap. It's apple honey, and it's actually Vermont apple honey by Aztec. I'm pretty sure I picked this one out because it had Vermont in the name. I was just looking it up, and it looks like it's actually a scent from another company. So if you happen to have this scent and like this scent, then it's probably very similar to the one that you have. I will get the full description, but I was looking it up and it has, I definitely smell a lot of apple in this one. It also has some pear, vanilla-y and musky, and has some other scents in there as well. So that's that honey bit of it. So definitely a great scent that will be in this soap today. Now in here I have my oils. My oils today are olive oil, coconut oil, sunflower oil, Crisco, and avocado oil. So that's in here. And I am going to add my lye water solution, which is here, to my oils. So I am super excited. I just signed up for my very first craft fair. So it will be an event held at a local high school in December. So the soaps that I'm making now that you're watching will be available at those craft shows. So if you happen to be local to Vermont. Alright, so lye, water, and all my oils are now in here. I'm going to bring in my stick blender, and I am going to pulse them all together. Now, along with my lye and water solution, I also added sodium lactate to the cooled lye water. Now, that will hopefully make a harder bar, and I will also hopefully be able to unmold faster. But that doesn't actually affect the curing time, so these soaps will still need 4 to 6 weeks to cure in order to be ready for the craft fair. Alright, so I do want this to be a little fluid here. Just going to scrape down the ends, or the sides, excuse me, spilling it all over the place. Alright, so this soap is going to be 3 different colors. However, it is taking 5 colors to create the 3. Now before I actually split off, I am going to hand mix in my fragrance oil, which I had measured out before. Ooh, I definitely get the apple out of this scent. It is very nice. And now that I know that there's a little bit of a pear in there, I definitely can tell that the pear is there. It's just a very sweet, appley tree. Oh, I am having a day here with this keeping in here. Maybe I should use a bigger container next time. I'm going to be purchasing probably some new bowls and things. I just broke a spoon, so I'm running out of spoons. I have this spatula, luckily, but I had purchased like a, it wasn't wooden, it was like a plastic spoon set that was just little stirring spoons. But they have all broken. They did not do very well in the lye, so I need to make sure that I get a spoon that will hold up in the lye water solution. So what I'm going to do now that that is, I think, mixed in, I'm just going to alright, so I let this sit for a minute, and it did end up thickening up, which is good. I was a little worried that something was wrong with it, because I was pulsing it to the nines, and it was not doing anything. But I do have to say, I sometimes think my stick blender is not as good as it could be. So what I was saying earlier, before I started mixing it up, is this is going to be 3 colors, but it's taking 5 colors to get there. I'm also using some interesting soaping tools. I'm not sure if you know what these are. Maybe if they have a lid on, you'd recognize them. But they're condiment containers, mustard, ketchup. In here I actually have put the micas I'm using because we're doing a blend, and I'm going to pour the soap directly into them to mix the colors. In the red one is going to be the honey bit of this soap. So that is made with 1 part a yellow of Vibrance mica and 1 part Maya Gold mica. Now, I did go on to Nurture Soap. It's called the Color Blender. And you actually can't decide which soap you want, but you can actually put in the different micas. So I checked to see what micas I had would make the perfect honey. And I felt like one part of each of these did the trick. Now, in the mustard container is a green. So it is a 1 part a lemon chiffon mica. Let me show you that. It's like a pastel yellow. And 1 part green vibrance mica. And that is here. A bulk of my soap is actually going to be a red pigment. To give you an idea, we just went apple picking and we picked Macintosh apples. Now Macintosh apples are, so they're typically mostly red with, once they're ripe, like the tips of them, the tops of them, the part closest to the tree, I guess, the part that's holding it on, is like a shade of green. So that's what the green I'm making. I'm hoping that the color I get, and then I'm having the honey in there. So I'm going to bring these 2 in, and I'm going to fill them about half full. I did a little like, how much do these hold? And they hold about 1 pound of soap, or a pound of water. So I'm going to judge this based on, I want about half full. And there is that. Now you guys actually won't probably get a good look at the color, nor probably I, until we are actually pouring this. That is about half in each of those. So I'm going to move these off to the side and we will deal with them after. The first color I'm going to do is the red. Now, like I said, this is really a red pigment. According to the directions on it, it says to use 1 to 2 teaspoons per pound of oil. Now, this is about a half a pound of oil at this point, and this is my half a teaspoon. So I'm going to put in, for now, about half a teaspoon. We can add up to a whole teaspoon for a half a pound. I'm going to start with my, I guess I'm actually going to go right to the stick blender on this one. Because this part of the soap does not need to be as fluid as the other 2. Look at how quickly that became a beautiful, beautiful red. I think I'm actually going to add just a little bit more to this. Now, before I even get to my other colors, I'm actually going to put this into my mold. The reason I'm going to do that is because I want this to set up just a little bit in order to hold up the swirl that we're doing on the top of this soap with the 2 other colors. This is roughly a 2-pound mold here. I'm only using a pound of soap, so it's definitely not going to, my soap is not going to be as tall as this, but I think it's going to be a really nice size soap in terms of the design we're doing on it. So I'm going to scrape down the ends of this. See that I have a little bit of uncolored soap, so I'm just going to mix that in. So I'm just going to pour this right into this mold. Now I have a silicone liner in a wood mold that my husband made me, if you happen to be wondering. I typically would use the freezer paper on this, but I was not patient enough to do that today, so I was going right to the silicone mold. So I'm going to try and get the red as even as possible in the bottom of this. Get all of it in there, do a really good scrape down. There's that. Now I'm going to set this off to the side. Let it just kind of harden, see if we can get it to solidify there a little bit, so that way we can put the swirl on top. So I'm going to set this aside, and then we are going to start mixing our other colors. And then we're actually going to, so we got to get all that color mixed in here. So just shake it up. I'm going to shake up both of them. I'm going to take a quick peek at the color before we really get started. But for the most part, these should be very much ready to go. Ooh, that's actually a really pretty color. And I think this, I'm just going to get down there, make sure there's nothing stuck on the bottom there. It's a very nice color right now. I might add a little bit more because I don't know if it's the honey color we're looking for, but maybe once I get some of that color that was probably stuck on the bottom off the bottom. This is, there's a reason we had the knife, right? Ooh, that's the color I want of that. Just make sure there's nothing on the bottom. So this green is lovely. So we're going to set this one aside and we're going to work on our honey color. And based on, let's see what color we have at the moment, see if it's darkened up. So it kind of looks like a buttery color, like a sun. It's definitely just not the color I want. Alright, so a little bit more Maya Gold into this. Now I'm going to have to change gloves for this bit. So now this Maya Gold does have this lovely shimmer to it. So I just added the Maya Gold at this point to see what color it makes it. Ooh, definitely. Look at that. That's so pretty. Alright. So we're going to have to set these aside. I'm going to have to grab scissors because I'm going to have to just cut a little bit more off the tip there. But if I bring this over, it's still a little jiggly, so we're going to have to probably let it sit. This, I'm shrinking these ones up again, just to get them a little fluid because everything's been sitting for a moment. Now this red soap batter, raw soap that is in here, has set up. It is still a little wiggly, but for the most part it is all set. So I think I should be able to start my design here. So what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be, I think for me it's going to be easier to do this. I am going to be taking the two soaps and using one at a time and making a swirl pattern on it. We will see how this all goes. Top, just lightly touching the top here, I am going to just do a little bit of swirling. There you are. So I'm not sure I'm naming this soap yet, but we will unmold in roughly, well, I mean, my soaps have been taking quite a long time. So within 48 hours, we typically will cut this to show you what it looks like. Hey everybody, so we are here to cut this lovely soap. Now this soap has actually been curing for a very long time. I'm not sure when I made this soap, but it has been sitting on the shelf over there because it came out of the mold super soft, and I bet it's been about a month now since I made this soap, and it is still a little soft. So that's at 9. These are going to be 2-inch bars, so we're going to end up with 4 bars and a couple itty bitty samples. So here is a sample, but you can see the swirl that was created. Let's see if we can get it to focus. The swirl that was created by the 2 condiment containers that we used. And this is just that beautiful red. Since I had unmolded it and kind of let it sit, It's not completely flat on the bottom, but it's a very cute little bar. I think cutting it sideways like that made that red kind of stay to itself, so I'm going to do that for the last two cuts. Now the scent on this, I definitely can smell the apples on it. So hopefully now that these are cut, it allows this bar to harden up, or continue to harden up here. There you go. I'm going to bring you guys in to take a closer look.